Hello and welcome back to more Films Under Constant Critique, where we take a look at films, some good, some bad, and some downright awful. I'm Bongo Baikov, joined by our host Maverick, Dren, Zaria. This week we're taking a look at the 2023 film Evil Dead Rise.
It kind of cut off there. It sounded like he said Evil Dead Rye.
Evil Dead bread.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, just it's set in like a bread
A bakery.
factory or something. Yeah. Oh my god, it'd be like a Wallace and Gromit short film or something. But yeah, no, it's Evil Dead Rise, which I didn't realize the title was kind of literal on this one, but okay. And we have another long gap since the previous film, because this came out, 10 years after?
After the remake, yeah. And then 5 years after the show ended.
And before the remake, there's like that, like a 20-year gap between
Yeah.
Army of Darkness and that one, yeah. It cost about $17 million and made $146.5 million, which
That's quite a bit of a return.
I was surprised that it made that much money. That makes it the highest grossing film in the Evil Dead series.
Yep.
For one thing. The director of this was Lee Cronin, and his only other feature film credit is an A24 horror movie called The Hole in the Ground.
I wonder if it was good.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
Looks like it's got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's it have on IMDb?
I will have to look that
What
up.
the hell is it even about, actually? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a horror movie.
Well, I know that, but, like, what's it
A
about?
5.6 on IMDb.
Oh, quite a bit of a
Gap there, yeah.
A single mother living in the Irish countryside with her son begins to suspect he may or not be her son at all, and fears his increasingly disturbing behavior is linked to a mysterious sinkhole in the forest behind their house.
It's kind of a strange premise.
That poster makes that kid look like Damien from The Omen. Which, in the premise, kind of sounds like The Omen a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't trust...
He really does.
Don't trust...
Like, if you look at them side by side, they look very similar.
Oh my goodness. You know what's funny is Sam Neill played the grown-up Damien in Omen 3. That's right, before he was Dr. Alan Grant, he was Damien. Do you want to just do an episode on Sam Neill's filmography?
Yeah, we just completely shifted just to talk about Sam Neill the whole time.
I mean, we have more to talk about with him than the cast members in this, because I didn't write any of them down, actually, because...
There's only like 3 of them who even have a Wikipedia page.
Because it was just a bunch of people that I don't know.
Yeah.
But what's strange, though, is that the cast members sometimes looked and sounded like someone I recognized. So I'd be like, wait a minute, is that? No, it's not. Wait, anyway. Like, for a second, I thought, wait a minute, is that April Ludgate? No, that's not. Anyway. Although, there is a cameo by a familiar name.
Yep, Bruce Campbell.
Which I would not have known that if I hadn't read beforehand.
Yeah. He makes a lot... We've done a lot of things where he's cameoed, because he's cameoed in this, he cameoed in,
From Dusk Till Dawn to Texas Blood
Dark Man.
And, yeah, the cameo in Dark Man, fake Shemp. Yeah. If we do Congo, he's in the beginning of that movie and then dies.
Nice.
when he was asked why he did that movie, he said because the check cleared. I mean, fair enough. He said he got a good vacation out of it, even though he only worked on the movie for a week. So.
That's pretty nice.
The tagline.
Ooh, there's a tagline.
Was "Mommy loves you to death." Trying to market it to the families, I see. I do like some of the posters for this movie, actually. There's one that has a demonic arm holding up a skyscraper, which I think is cool.
Huh.
I could...
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Let me see if I can... I got a few of them saved here. Is this the one? No, it's not that one, but there's one of them. There's another
one's
one.
Pretty good.
No, it's not that one. Wait. This is the one I was talking about. This one. I was talking about this one.
Ooh, that one's pretty good.
And then there's just the standard one, which you've seen that one, I would assume.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah. I like the one with the arm and
the skyscraper.
Skyscraper, yeah.
I kind of wish they would have gone with that one.
Hell, maybe that's a fake one for all I know. Fuck. Okay. So, initial thoughts. Do you want to go first on that, or?
Sure, since I technically saw the movie first.
The one that wanted to do it on the podcast as well.
Yes. So, I'd gone to see this in theaters when it had come out. I don't think I saw it on release date. I think I saw it a couple days later.
This was April of 2023, I believe.
Yeah. So I remember coming out of the theater actually really liking the movie. I enjoyed it a lot when I saw it in theaters. And so I was interested going back to it to see if it was just because I got to see an Evil Dead movie in theaters, or, if it actually held up. I think this time around I didn't enjoy it quite as much as I did the first time. It definitely doesn't hold up to the first three, but overall I think I liked it. I didn't really love it, I didn't hate it, so I was just sort of meh, sort of in the middle there.
Yeah, and you thought it was better than the remake.
Yes, I do think it is better than the remake.
Okay. I had no idea what to expect from this. I didn't even watch trailers for it or anything. Well, okay, I might have seen a brief one on because YouTube.
Yeah.
Before videos. And I was worried it would be like the 2013 Evil Dead movie, which it kind of was in some areas. And before seeing it, I did read a brief summary that said it took place in an apartment. And I thought, okay, that sounds like a promising concept. You take the Evil Dead demons, put them in a modern day apartment setting. That's a good way to update it, differentiate it from the previous movies. It was definitely better than the 2013 one. Although I do think it does have a similar problem with me, where it kind of just feels like another horror movie with the Evil Dead title attached to it. Honestly, it kind of felt like an extra gory Exorcist movie. Which, if it were an Exorcist movie, it'd be the second best one. Granted,
that's not a high bar to clear.
Yeah, because you haven't seen any of them, but like the sequels to that
Hmm.
are just. Or have you
I
seen
heard.
have you seen any of
I
them?
heard. I haven't. I've watched some stuff about him, but I heard that people actually kind of like the third one.
I tried watching the third one again a few years ago. It didn't hold up.
Hmm.
Like there's some interesting parts, but I didn't think the story and stuff was that great. Like there were some ideas there. I just don't think it was well executed. But yeah, a lot of people do like that one. I'm not. But anyway, it barely feels like an Exorcist movie. But that's getting off topic. But
Hmm.
basically, I did enjoy the movie. If that's what you
Hmm.
were wondering, though,
Okay.
I liked the movie. I thought they got the pacing of it right.
Yep.
I thought the gore was good. It was genuinely disturbing in parts.
Yes. It definitely leans more towards the first Evil Dead than it does the second Evil Dead in terms of the comedy horror balance.
That was the other thing I was gonna mention. I wish it had more of the humor that
Yeah.
became the trademark of the series, like in the second and third ones. And also, this movie falls for a lot of dumb horror movie logic, where characters make dumb decisions just so that
Yeah.
things will happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Like, like, why in God's name would you go to that door, or why in God's name would you pick up that book and like open it? Oh my God, it's just
Or like, why would you? This is skipping ahead, but like, when you've got evil entities crawling around all over the place, just put on a pair of headphones and not pay attention to the outside world.
Although to be fair, there is some of that stuff in like the first movie,
Yeah.
so but still, it's just stuff like that kind of annoys me. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. Like I didn't think it was
Hmm.
great, but it was enjoyable
Yeah.
enough for
Yeah.
what it was. Obviously, I think the first three are better, but it was yeah. So I guess now we can get into it. Oh, another thing. Something I should have mentioned. Really. My first attempt to watch it,
Okay.
I had to switch to a different copy because the first version I tried watching it had an Indian ad at the beginning for something called like Sky Exchange or something. I was like, wait, what the hell is
Okay.
this? And then very quickly I realized the version that I was watching was dubbed in Hindi. So I had to look for another one.
So, in a
Although that
similar
would have been
vein,
funny. Now that I think about it, that would have been really funny to watch Evil Dead Rise like in like
in
another
Hindi.
yeah.
So I watched mine on HBO Max or Max, whatever it's called nowadays. Uh, so I had to put up with ads throughout the movie. There was only one weird ad. It was somebody was getting plumbing work done over like Zoom or something or like FaceTime or whatever, and they were singing "We fixed this toilet on video"
Oh
to the
yeah,
tune of "We built this city on rock and
I
roll."
have seen that ad so many times on
That
Tubi.
was my first exposure to it.
I've seen it so many times on Tubi. It's been
And
a
and
while since
then
I've seen it though. I thought they stopped showing it actually.
well, it's just spread to HBO now.
Oh my god.
Um and then all of the ad placements were at just the worst possible spots. It like this is like a spoiler later in the movie, but when Bridget is like squatting on the kitchen countertop eating a wine glass, it like cut during the middle of like her scene when she was starting to turn. It just cuts everywhere. That it doesn't make any sense. It was bad.
This was on HBO Max.
Yeah. So if you're trying to watch it, don't watch it on HBO Max.
What are you recommending that people borrow it from Jeff, basically?
Or go buy it from whoever had the Hindi copy.
I didn't buy it. I like pirated it.
Yeah.
It was all like archive.org or something.
It was on archive.org. That's a bold move, whoever uploaded that.
Okay. So the opening of this movie is interesting.
Yeah.
And they call back to it later, which I was not expecting. Basically you see the camera like zooming really fast, just like in the other movies. Man, that cameraman really has it out for somebody in these movies.
And so you see the camera flying through some woods, and then it approaches a woman, and she starts to scream. But it turns out that it was just a drone.
That's actually a clever reveal, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It definitely plays on you having seen an Evil Dead movie before.
But yeah, that was like the moment I realized the movie was dubbed in Hindi, and I'm like, God damn it, I need to find a real version of this.
Implying the Hindi version isn't the best version.
Who knows, maybe it was, and I missed out. I think I tried another version, and it was like Russian or something, but that was on a different website. But yeah, it's just some guy surprising a girl with a drone. And they're out in some cabin in the woods, I guess.
The girl just gets annoyed at the guy flying his drone around, so she goes back inside to see her cousin, who is very sick and just lying down in the bed.
Yeah.
And then her cousin starts reading aloud passages from a nightmare scene in, I think it was Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights, yeah, which I guess I never realized how creepy Wuthering Heights was. She's like reciting it even though her head is like turned away.
Yeah, it's basically like reading the cards from the first movie.
Yeah. It definitely feels like an Exorcist moment right there. And then she like, this was fucked up. She like scalps her.
Yeah, she like wraps like her ponytail around her hand and just scalps her. I will say all the gore effects in this movie are pretty good.
Yeah, that was definitely a positive with this and the remake. You definitely felt uncomfortable when limbs got separated. And then this part was also weird. She like cuts herself with the drone and falls into the lake. Like,
yeah, drowns the boyfriend and then rises from the lake as you see the title of the movie, Rise Behind the Mountains.
She also decapitated him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which it would have been, yeah, that was actually pretty clever.
I know that was a fun opening. Like a title drop.
She's like rising, and then like it says Evil Dead Rise, which it would have been funny if Rise of Skywalker did a similar thing, you know? Like, I don't know, Luke Skywalker like rises up in the air and then just...
It could have just been Palpatine, and that's how they explain why he's back.
You know, if you're gonna bring back Palpatine, you might as well bring back Mace Windu.
Honestly, what's the point of even dying in a Star Wars film anymore? You'll just come back.
But yeah, it was a good opening. Basically, after that opening, I was like thinking, okay, but The 2013 one also had a good opening, so it better keep
Yeah.
up the momentum. And then we see not April Ludgate doing drugs in a bathroom or something.
Well, she was taking a pregnancy test.
It was so dark, like I couldn't tell what she was doing at first, and I
That's
was
fair.
like, "Wait, is that a pregnancy test or something?" I don't know.
And so you find out that she's like a guitar technician for some band.
A
But as soon as she
guitar
learns-
technician.
Yeah.
Is that like an actual
soon
term,
as-
or is she just trying to sound like?
That's I don't know what the actual name for it is, but she basically goes around with the band making sure all the equipment's working.
I thought it was just her trying to sound like more cool than she actually was. Who knows? Who knows? Although she constantly gets called a groupie by the
Yeah,
mother.
she doesn't take kindly to being called a groupie.
Yeah, most people don't. I mean, and then there's like one person that wants to protest Labor Day or something.
So
They never get
the
into
scene
that.
shifts. Yeah, the scene shifts to an apartment building where we meet a young family who the mother of which is sisters to the groupie we saw earlier, and she has 3 kids running around. One of whom's practicing to be a DJ, one of whom's cutting the heads off of dolls and putting them on sticks, and the other one is trying to attend some sort of protest.
Yeah, a Labor Day protest or something, which I wasn't sure if they were protesting Labor Day or they were protesting.
It's probably
at
just the protest
Labor
that's
Day.
taking place on Labor Day.
Like maybe they just hate unions or something and they're protesting it.
Down with unions.
I don't know.
It'd be the perfect day to protest them on, I guess.
And this dinner scene was making me realize, like, every character in this is just weird.
Yeah.
Like, everybody is strange. It's
they tried to make them all unique.
It's like, honestly, this sort of felt like if Wes Anderson wrote it, like he tried adding like all these weird little quirks.
Well, now I want to see the Wes Anderson Evil Dead movie.
Oh, that would actually be kind of amazing.
Every shot would have to be symmetrical.
Honestly, Moonrise Kingdom combined with Evil Dead would be perfect. There's like a reference to monkey brains, but not chilled ones.
No.
And yeah, what's her name is in a rock band. And also there's just lots of family drama. That's another thing this has in common with Wes Anderson movies. Just families not getting along, just everybody's all screwed up, you know.
And so Ellie, who's the more responsible sister that has these children, is angry at Beth, who's the groupie, because Ellie's been going through a divorce, and she tried calling Beth, and Beth basically ignored her.
Yeah.
It just didn't answer the calls and didn't listen to the voicemails.
Or she was on drugs. You never know.
There's a good chance.
And then they go to get some pizza, and there's an earthquake.
Real quick, did you catch the name of the place on the pizza box?
Oh, shoot. No, I did not.
The name on the pizza box, like the pizza place, is Henrietta's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I did catch that. I just forgot to write it down.
Yeah, so it's a reference to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, one of the demons from Evil Dead 2, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're getting the pizza, and then there's an earthquake, and a huge hole opens up where they find an old bank vault.
Locked away is a really old-looking book that has teeth on the side.
Yeah, and of course, what does the kid decide to do?
Pick it up, as well as 3 records he sees lying around. I guess it was in a like a deposit box, but
who knows? Maybe he thought they were Elvis albums or something. Like, how long has that vault been down there? I mean, jeez.
well, they mentioned the apartment was a bank at first.
Okay, if it's the 20s, then who would that be? Like Al Jolson or something? There's a dated reference. And yeah, and then of course the phone stopped working. They needed a way to have the phones not work in a horror movie, because
and so just the network is down because of the earthquake.
nothing is able to happen in a horror movie unless like the phones don't work. Basically.
One of the kids named Danny, the same kid that picked up the book and picked up the records, goes to try and open the book. He tries to pry it open at first, which doesn't work, but then his finger gets cut on one of the teeth, and he drops a little blood on it, and then it opens. That should be your first sign right there not to touch this thing.
Yeah, if the book has teeth as the binding,
And it doesn't open unless you spill blood on it. It's not a good sign.
And what teeth did, like what animal did those teeth come from? I mean, jeez. Those are like huge teeth.
Yeah.
I also like how the little girl is worried most about the fact that they dropped pizza. I mean, I'm with her on that one.
It is an unfortunate loss of pizza.
Yeah. But yeah, also the design of the Necronomicon looks a little different in this one.
It's sort of just like it's most similar in appearance to the first movies, where it's really just a book. There's not like a face on it.
Yeah, because usually there's a face on the cover. Yeah.
And it's revealed.
My favorite is when in Army of Darkness, when the books try biting his hand.
So actually, I think this part here is sort of a reference to Army of Darkness. So the kid plays the records, and he finds out that it's called that it's one of the 3 volumes of the Narutom Dementos. That's what the book was called in the first movie. But it's mentioned that there are 3 volumes. And so I was thinking, in that graveyard in Army of Darkness, there are 3 books that Ash looks at. So maybe that's what they're trying to do here, to sort of make a reference to that. Maybe the other movies, because we're probably going to get another one if we're honest, will focus on the other
I feel like
books.
We're probably... I mean, this movie did well enough. They might make...
It did very well.
Then again, the remake did really well, and they never made a sequel to it. So, who knows? But like the first disc, that was interesting, because it...
Yeah.
At first, it sounded like someone reciting demonic chants. But then, like, as he focused it more, it turns out it's a church leader trying to persuade them to translate the book.
Which sounds like a great idea.
And actually, one of the voices telling him to destroy it is Bruce Campbell, yes. That's his
cameo.
And he is an ordained priest in real life, too, so...
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
You were the one that told me about that. And then then the second disc, it's from 1923, and it's that same not the Bruce Campbell priest, the priest, the
priest that was trying to get them to read the book.
Yeah, it's him reading the book aloud. And of course, we know where this is gonna go.
So he reads the incantation, and Ellie ends up getting possessed. Not by a tree, but by the elevator cables.
Yeah, which that scene kind of reminded me of in the first one.
Yeah.
The scene with the trees. So thankfully, there's no elevator rape in this. Jesus. And also, I mean, To be fair, she kind of had it coming, because earlier she was saying don't go
Don't
up.
use the elevator after an earthquake.
She used the fucking elevator. She didn't even take her own advice. Can I mention again just how weird the characters are in this?
Yeah.
Like, at one point, it's just mentioned that the little girl got stung by a jellyfish at the beach once, and that's why she won't use the bathtub. Like, that's seriously, that moment just seriously made me think this was like that Wes Anderson was involved somewhere along the line. I like the drawings in the Necronomicon.
Oh yeah,
too.
I imagine whoever got to make the prop was pretty excited.
That was they kind of look like something you'd see in like Dante's Inferno or something like that. An elevator. Yeah, and if that isn't bad enough, the power goes out. Another thing that happens in a lot of horror movies. And then their mom just shows up possessed and starts cooking eggs, but with the shells in the pan. I don't think you're not supposed
some
to
of the
do
eggs
that,
are
are you?
cracked, the eggs are like bleeding.
Yeah, it does. I was wondering about that. Like, was that intentional, or like was it just the lighting made it look like that?
I think it was definitely a darker color, so I think it was supposed to be.
That was a very weird choice to do that, but yeah. And then she's just saying creepy shit, and then
She's like, I was thinking the other day about how much I want to cut you all up and crawl inside you so we can be one happy family.
Yeah, something like that.
She then proceeds to vomit several gallons of fluid on the floor, falls over, and dies.
And she's like crawling on the floor at one point, too. And then they take her to a roommate, and he puts her in a bed. And again, this stuff was making me think of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
More so than Evil Dead. Where she's like in a bed and like possessed and all that. Does you get the part where the one in the rock band, or the voicemail turns on and the phone screen cracks.
And then the voicemail starts calling for help. Obviously, it's not supposed to be the original message.
She like gets out of bed and again is acting weird. And they throw her in a bathtub.
And I don't know if the water like starts boiling after they throw her into the bathtub.
Yeah, and she like lets out this blood-curdling yell. Which, that yell, oh my god, like I cannot imagine like how deafening that must have been for whoever saw this in theaters. I mean, Jesus.
It was incredibly loud. Also, I imagine my neighbors love me because I watched this just a few days after I rewatched the Twin Peaks season 2 finale with Laura Palmer screaming for like a minute straight. So I imagine my neighbors love me right now.
Let's see. Just find other movies with really long screams in them. She stabs her sister with glass and drills her daughter almost in the eye, which that was, oh my god. Like,
yeah.
That part was so uncomfortable. Like how it's like almost going in her eye, like, oh Jesus Christ.
And here's something we really haven't mentioned so far. Like we've kind of mentioned it, but we haven't talked about it.
The gore's very realistic.
Yes, and 3 out of 5 of the main characters are children.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And like you said, Fun for the whole family.
Yes. It's not quite as gory as the other movies though, but it's just it's very uncomfortable to watch for a lot of it. She oh my god, this part. She runs out into the hallway and then bites a dude's eye out and then
spits it out into another guy's mouth, who then chokes to death on it.
Which that was clearly a callback to the second
Evil Dead 2. Yeah.
Except there they played it for laughs. Here I was like, oh my god, that's...
It's a bit more disturbing in this one than funny, but...
disgusting. I mean, maybe it was supposed to be funny and I just wasn't in the mood to laugh at this time.
You were too sick to laugh.
Yeah, I had a fever. I should mention this while recording. I had a fever while watching this. This is probably not the right movie to watch while sick. So, and I am sick while recording this too. But hopefully, I can get through this. They're also they're really giving you no breathing room here either.
No, it moves pretty quick. It's a bit slow during some of the opening stuff when you're meeting Beth and then Ellie and her family.
Once it gets going, though, it's just constant attacks. Just the whole movie. I think I reached a point or the last third of the movie where I was like, when is this gonna end? Jesus Christ. The roommate gets his throat ripped open. And then one of the guys with a shotgun shoots the mother.
Which, of course, doesn't kill her because she's a deadite.
And that shot was interesting. You're seeing that shot, from the...
Oh, yeah, through the...
apartment door, the eye hole.
Yeah.
Door, which that was interesting. That kind of feels like something Sam Raimi might have done.
Yeah, and that's one criticism I do have of the movie, is they aren't as playful with the cinematography as Sam Raimi was.
Yeah, which I would also criticize the 2013 one.
Yeah.
For the similar thing, except for I liked the way that the ending was shot in that one. Or I just liked the ending.
Had the raining blood scene.
Yeah, so. The ending was very visually I think it was just because everything was red. Maybe that was why that stood out so much. And then the kid, he finally shows them the book, which probably should have done that earlier. With all this shit going on. I mean, because oh my, I guess you're busy getting attacked by demons, but still, you should explain
how it started.
Yeah. And then you can hear the mom singing a lullaby, and the little girl goes to find her. And she stands up in the middle of the hallway and looking like one of the twins from The Shining. There were a few parts that kind of reminded me of The Shining in this, actually.
There's one part that is definitely a reference to The Shining.
I know which part you're talking about, and we will get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's trying to persuade her daughter to open the door. Which, for fuck's sake, why would you after all that?
I'm going to sort of defend this one. She is a very little girl. She's supposed to be 9, 10, something like that.
Yeah, good point. And to be fair, she doesn't, technically. They stop her, but...
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the one girl that got her face drilled starts to get possessed, and this was, oh god.
This transformation was pretty grody.
Yeah, the scar's, expanding, kind of like in the other movies.
Yeah. There's, a black goo that's coming out of her nose, her mouth, her eyes. She starts vomiting up bugs.
I was eating dinner during this part of the movie, so I like had to check my.
The best time to eat dinner.
I had to check my food for bugs during that.
I mean, I don't remember if I mentioned this part to you before, but like I said, I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Just sick out of my mind with COVID. I was also eating Buffalo Wild Wings when I was watching that movie. It was a wonderful combination.
Oh my god. That entire scene. Oh my god, yeah, because then she starts eating glass like she's the fucking Grinch. And this part
Does the Grinch eat glass?
in the Jim Carrey one,
I haven't seen that in like over a decade.
he does, yeah, at one point. You don't remember his like lair with like all the garbage and stuff in it.
I have very vague memories of that movie.
Maybe we should do that on the podcast.
That'll be this year's Christmas special, The Grinch live action.
It'd be what, our third Ron Howard movie?
I didn't realize that was a Ron Howard movie.
I forgot. I forgot too. Yeah. But the thing that makes this scene so gross, though, is you see the glass puncturing.
Oh yeah, it like comes out of her throat when she's swallowing the glass.
Oh my god, that was so painful, and especially since I've been having like strep throat recently. Jesus.
I imagine that was a great visual to go along with that.
Yeah, that was not a visual that I wanted yesterday. But then she gets stabbed with a metal rod or something. What was that? Was that like a...
So it was like a wooden stick that got broken in half. That was
Oh.
It was the one that the doll head got put on.
Okay.
She gets stabbed through the mouth on what's essentially a stake.
Yeah. Which, if that was a vampire, you might have won.
And Danny does something pretty smart and tries to tie her up.
Yeah.
Just in case she comes back. It doesn't work, but points for effort.
Yeah. And then the guitarist decides to, or guitar technician, whatever.
Yeah.
Decides to listen to the record with headphones on, which, okay, that's probably a better idea than just blaring it for everyone to hear. Waking up the dead.
And so she's listening for a way to either reverse the curse or to get rid of the Deadites. And they actually sort of change the rules of Deadites in this one. Because they mentioned that they couldn't kill them, they couldn't use fire, decapitation didn't work, dismemberment didn't work.
Burying them didn't work.
Yep.
As they just came back. I remember at one point the priest just says there's no way to kill them, just give up, basically.
Yeah.
At one point. So I'm like, okay, great. I love movies with a nihilistic tone. Oh my god. And then the kids get attacked by blankets. It's like, what? I don't remember which of the demons it was, but she was like...
so that was supposed to be the sister.
Okay.
So that Bridget was the character's name. Because then we have Ellie climbing through the vents like the xenomorph.
Okay.
Coming to fight Beth.
And in another scene, which obviously has to be a reference to the previous movies, like, Danny gets blood puked all over him.
Yeah.
Just like Ash did. Which, ew.
It's not an Evil Dead movie if someone doesn't get like 20 gallons of blood puked on them.
Ew. We need to do something less gross for our next podcast. Is there anything like that in the Mario animated movie or not?
I don't remember anyone getting puked on in the Mario animated movie, no.
Okay, good. Good. I can deal with blood, but vomit blood, no thank you. um, and then she gets attacked by the mom when the record ends.
Who tries to rip the fetus out of Beth.
Oh yeah, that was disturbing, yeah. This is also where we have another callback to the other movies where she says, "I will swallow your souls."
Yep.
Paraphrasing a quote from the other movies. And then she just cuts her with scissors.
Yeah, just gives her a quick up-the-nose lobotomy.
Those must be some really damn good scissors then in that case.
They did cut off the doll's head at the beginning of the movie.
I guess that's why you don't run with them. Despite what that Weird Al album said. And then she goes out in the hallway and sees dead bodies just everywhere. And pretty soon all the tenants in the building just come alive and attack them, which that's about what I was expecting would happen.
Yeah, and they're all screaming, "You'll be dead by dawn," which is another callback.
Yeah, and then the next part's a callback because they're in an elevator which fills up with blood, which is clearly reference to The Shining. I mean, what else could that be a reference to?
And then when the elevator, falls all the way down and collapses, all the blood comes spilling out like in The Shining.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch The Shining now.
What'd you say?
I kind of want to watch The Shining now.
I mean, who doesn't?
I might do that tomorrow or something.
What's interesting about The Shining actually is that the original trailer for it was that shot of the blood coming out.
I think I knew that.
Yeah. And like they weren't gonna show it in theaters originally, like the rating system, but then Stanley Kubrick somehow managed to convince them that it was rusty water. I don't know how you convince somebody that the very clear bright red blood.
Maybe that's what Scorsese should have done for Taxi Driver. Tried to tell the studio it was really rusty water.
Yeah. And then they get in a car in the parking garage, but that ends up not going anywhere.
Because while they're trying to run away, Mama's been busy.
Oh, have we mentioned
using her body?
Sorry, we should mention this point. The only two people left, the only two that are alive at this point now, are the little girl and the guitarist. They're the only two survivors.
Yep, and the other members of the family have sort of merged somehow, and they've created like this multi-arm, multi-leg beast that's essentially chasing them now.
Yeah, that was weird. It's just a bunch of scenes of them running around in a parking garage, and that was the point of the movie where I was like, okay, this is getting kind of repetitive now.
Yeah, no, that scene was dragged out a bit much.
She does end up getting a chainsaw and a shotgun, so...
Yep. And she even says the line, "Come get some."
Yeah, we're almost in Ash Williams territory here. She's like using the chainsaw on someone, kills a bunch of deadites with she finds a wood chipper.
And ends up basically pushing the amalgamation beast into the wood chipper to just completely annihilate the deadites.
Yeah, and of course there's a lot of blood like you'd expect from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Although that being said, though, I think this is one area where the 2013 film did something better. It had a better ending.
Yes, the 2013 one, for all of its flaws, has a very memorable ending.
But to be fair, you can't really top that ending as far as just blood-drenched insanity, so, like...
Yeah.
But yeah, the only two of them survived, like... And I just realized, okay, it's gonna look like they just went insane and mass murdered everybody in the
I know.
apartment building.
I was kind of thinking that you also gotta feel bad for whoever has to come in and clean up the parking garage.
How are they going to explain this to the police? Like,
I didn't see any security cameras in that building, so that's gonna be a fun police report.
god damn. Yeah, somebody was out on a tear that night. Jesus.
But Beth and Cassie end up escaping the apartment building.
Yep.
And they will probably have to deal with this problem again in about 2 or 3 years.
Who knows? And the ending, I did not see this coming at all. You see one of the girls from the beginning of the movie.
Yep, the one that was sick and that turned out to be possessed.
Yeah, in the parking garage talking to her sister on the phone. And at first I was like, wait, who are these two? And I'm like, oh, wait a second. I recognize what's her name on the phone. Is this like a loop or something? Wait a minute. And she like finds blood everywhere. So yeah, that was an interesting twist. That the beginning of the movie happened after the events of the movie.
We see the actual evil, the evil force from the first movies come and possess the character.
Great.
And so, like most Evil Dead movies, it ends on a cliffhanger, I suppose.
Yeah, this insanity never ends, does it? Wait, how did the 2013 one... Wait.
I think she was just able to walk away after chainsawing the demon in the face.
Is that the only one that doesn't end with, like, a cliffhanger, then?
Army of Darkness technically doesn't.
Depending on which version you watch.
Fair. If you watch the international one, it's the worst cliffhanger in history.
A cliffhanger that was never resolved. Anywhere, I don't think.
That they also made the cliffhanger to the end of the TV show.
Yeah, they did. Which, that was another thing. Okay, if he got trapped in that medieval, like... in like the post, if he got trapped in the post-apocalypse, and how did he end up working at a value stop? That's just...
Oh, actually, I don't know. I don't think this was announced when we did the Evil Dead remake video, but they are doing an animated follow-up to Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I think that we might have mentioned that, but I can't remember if we mentioned that while recording or not.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and listen to it again. Is Bruce Campbell going to be in that?
Yeah, he's going to be voicing Ash.
Name's Ash. Housewares. Alright, so this movie needed more Bruce Campbell. That's really... I think that really is one of the problems with, like, the remake of this one. You need a little more Bruce Campbell, but... Anyway. So, overall thoughts. It was good.
Yeah, it's better than the remake. It gets a lot more of it right, I would say. It feels slightly more original than that movie, too. They didn't just go to a cabin in the woods the whole time.
Yeah. It's in an apartment building, which that's a good way to change it up. Gives them a unique
setting. The effects were all really good.
Yeah, very good gore in this one. It was well paced too. Like it just once it hits its stride, it's just so
it just keeps
fast,
going.
Like it's relentless. And the parts that were disturbing were genuinely disturbing. So
yeah.
And another I felt like the characters were distinct enough from each other. That was another problem I had with the remake, was the characters were very, very forgettable, with the exception of like two of the main characters.
Yeah.
And again, like, my problems just come from the fact it falls for some of the horror movie logic of characters just making dumb decisions so that things will happen. You know, it's less egregious here than in something like, say, Prometheus. But let's touch the slime snake.
Nothing can go wrong with that.
We're scientists. Oh wait, where'd our maps go? We lost them. And also, what made those original Evil Dead movies so enjoyable for me wasn't necessarily the scary parts, but was the slapstick and dark humor.
Yes.
That was what made them so enjoyable. This one, again, like the remake, it just has a super dark, depressing, dour tone. Like, after watching it, I was like, I need to watch something lighter after watching. So I watched, like, a W.C. Fields movie right afterwards. To be in a better mood. Because, like, most of what I've been watching, it's been, like, very much not stuff like this.
You should have followed it up with Stalker.
Oh jeez, I was not in the mood for Stalker.
Go to bed fully depressed that night.
I was not in the mood to watch Stalker last night, for sure.
So here's the real question. Are you ready to see a sequel to this movie?
Oh jeez.
Because it's almost a guarantee, I think.
Well, not right now, but like maybe a year or so from now, sure. I don't know what they'll do though.
They'll probably try to give it another sort of new setting, but I'm really hoping for the next one that they do lean into the comedy elements a bit more.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about the ending of the movie, if they follow it from the ending of this movie, I'm afraid it'll just be another trapped in a cabin movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of tired of them doing that with this series. They've done that so many how many times have they done that? Like 3 times.
Yeah, so 3 out of the 5 movies have taken place in one, and then in the TV show they go back quite a few times.
It's kind of like with Friday the 13th. You're just like, how many times are they gonna open this camp?
1 year after each tragedy.
Like, that's one thing I'll say. I mean, I don't like Jason Takes Manhattan, but I will give it this. At least they decided to give it a different setting than usual.
Hey, Jason X had a different setting.
And Jason X. Same with Jason X. I won't give that credit to Jason Goes to Hell, though, because they didn't.
No, it doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah, that movie's just terrible. That movie's barely a Friday the 13th movie.
Although the Necronomicon does show up in that one.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, Freddy Krueger's glove shows up in it too.
Yeah.
At the very end. But yeah, like the closest thing I've watched to horror movies recently was a bunch of like Godzilla movies. Which is very different from Evil Dead. So, and I mentioned before, I've had a fever recently, so watching this during that wasn't the best idea.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But yeah, it was a good movie, though, for what it was.
Yeah.
Would I watch it again?
Not over the originals.
When I'm not sick, maybe. I'll watch it again. Okay, do you want to move on to trivia, or do you have anything else to add?
I think we're good to move on to trivia.
Okay. The film was originally meant to release exclusively through HBO Max, but it performed so strongly during test screenings that the studio decided to release it theatrically instead.
They decided not to kill it like they did Batgirl.
Batgirl, yeah, we're always gonna give them shit over Batgirl. Those fucking idiots. Because Batgirl did not do well during test screenings. That's the difference. Apparently, this movie's better than Batgirl. Congratulations.
You've cleared the lowest bar possible.
Oh, director Lee Cronin I feel like every other episode we always end up mentioning Batgirl. Director Lee Cronin stated in an interview that 6,500 liters or 1,720 gallons of fake blood were used for the movie.
Wow.
That's a lot. I don't know how much.
I imagine that the remake used a bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how much that compares to the
remake. So the remake, in comparison, used 70,000 gallons of fake blood, with 50,000 used for the final scene alone.
Yep, that's right. That sounds about right. Because that ending, oh my god, that is probably the most blood I have ever seen.
It is just a ridiculous amount of blood.
And that's easily the best scene of that movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's like the one of the few things I remember about that movie. Yeah, the pizza place is called Henrietta's, which is a reference to Henrietta Noby, the demon in the basement in Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
To get into the character of an alternate personality, actress Alyssa Sutherland took inspiration from Jim Carrey's performance in The Mask.
Huh. Honestly, I think making the Mask an Evil Dead villain would be kind of funny, but...
If I remember right, like, the comic that The Mask was originally based on...
is very dark from what I've seen.
Yeah, from what I've heard, yeah. So maybe it wouldn't be too out of place. The film opens with the sound of a fly. This is the exact same sound used throughout different entries dating all the way back to the original, and has become a tradition to appear at least once. Huh. Didn't know that. Inside the cabin, in the prologue of the film, is a ticking clock on the wall. It's the exact same clock as the one Cheryl is drawing in The Evil Dead.
Huh.
Shot in chronological order.
That's an interesting choice. I guess they didn't want to clean up the apartment set every time that they had a massive blood spill.
Yeah, it'd be easier to keep continuity with the blood if you do that. Oh, yeah. There's another Evil Dead movie done for New Line Cinema, that's true. So there hasn't been one since the original movie. On the Extra Vision podcast, director Lee Cronin revealed that all the characters were named after actors that had previously appeared in the Evil Dead series.
Huh.
The second...
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
This is the only Evil Dead film not to feature the 1973 Oldsmobile Delta.
Okay. Huh. The sound of Ellie biting out a man's eyeball in the hallway is actually an audio recording of Bruce Campbell furiously biting into an apple.
That's pretty good.
So I guess that's another way that Bruce Campbell made a cameo in this
movie. Yeah. That's pretty funny, actually.
That and the audio recording where he's saying to destroy the Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
Director Lee Cronin confirmed online that the cat seen and heard in the vents of the apartment complex does in fact survive the events of the film. Oh, so we have 3 survivors then. There we go.
Do you think the cat's gonna show up in the sequel now?
At least the cat survived. Just like in Alien, the cat survived. Jonesy survived. Yeah, come get some. That was a reference to the line from Army of Darkness. Surprised they didn't go to S-Mart at some point during this movie.
Yeah.
They should have done that. Or Value Stop.
Just to connect it to the show.
The Deadites make a few references to previous films in their dialogue. They say everyone will be dead by dawn.
Yep.
And Ellie tells Beth, I'll swallow your soul.
I'll swallow your soul.
Yeah, a lot of this is stuck. Okay, I ran out of trivia.
So that was Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. Better than Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, it's what, like the 4th best Evil Dead movie?
Yeah. Doesn't quite live up to the first 3, but it is better overall than the remake.
I do kind of want to watch Army of Darkness again.
I know. After watching it, I kind of want to watch the show.
Or Evil Dead 2.
Evil
Dead 2, I like that one. That was the best one, I think, of the movies. The show, I watched, I think, the first season of it. And then I lost interest, but, It's so weird, though, trying to connect the show to the movies, though. How he's like, he works at Value Stop now for...
Because when they made that, they couldn't get the right... When they made season 1, they didn't have the rights for Army of Darkness, so they couldn't use S-Mart.
So they kind of just remade Army of Darkness a little bit. At least the ending of Army of Darkness.
But then they got the rights to it in, like, season 2, so then... It's always a rights mess with this series.
I'm still so pissed that we missed out on Ash in the post-apocalypse.
Twice.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do that in the new animated show or something. They better. They fucking better. It'll be kind of like Mad Max, except with Deadites.
Alright, well, next time we'll be covering the Super Mario Brothers movie, which released earlier this year as well.
Yeah, you have to
get a bit of a tone change.
You kind of have to clarify which Mario movie it is, because now there's like...
I mean, we've already done the anime. We've already done the 93 one.
No, there's another animated one.
Oh, that's right.
Done by isn't it the same one? The same studio that did, like, Despicable Me. And Hop. Remember that classic?
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted a movie about the Easter Bunny.
Until then, roll the Andy Griffith.
Good night, you stupid idiot. Good night, you miserable slob.